Alamarine, count to 4. Alamarine, then 3 more.
Alamarine, then 3 more. Alamarine, if you can see. Alamarine, you'll come with me.
Alamarine, you'll come with me.
And here we are, everybody. It's time for the podcast. Okay. Whoa, I am way bright. Let's turn down my.
I thought I was doing the intro.
Oh, yeah, you are. Yeah, it's all you, Jeff.
Welcome to another edition of Live Long and Podcast here. We're back again with our 3.5-year mission to recap every episode of Star Trek Deep Space Nine. This is we're doing a season 1 episode 10 tonight. Move Along Home, maybe the most cherished of all the episodes.
Oh yes, one of Star Trek's finest.
Well, Star Trek, really pulled out all the stops. They really put the budget into this episode. I mean, building that table was no easy feat. I mean, they had to pretend that certain figures were certain characters. I mean, this episode just had
They had to memorize some complex, nursery school rhymes and do some hopscotch. And first contact is, it's messy sometimes. First contact,
first contact doesn't always go the way of the Vulcans meeting the humans, like the movie. No, this is a different kind of first contact. So we're here with our guests. We got my brother Dave Mader over in his command center. We got Kevin and Ashley Millard over there in Burlington, Ontario, and then we got Jaemeel Robinson in Popland, Pop Funko Land.
Yeah, I love his lighting setup. This is great.
Yes, this is voice command lighting system. Jaemeel and Dave have competing command centers.
Well, I don't know if they're competing. I think that we're sort of in a fleet together. One happy fleet, as Khan would say.
Okay, so let's talk about this episode, guys, because it's a doozy. It starts off with Cisco putting on a uniform, a dress uniform. Okay. Right. And I was thinking he says I haven't worn this in a while. I'm like, why don't you just replicate the new uniform? And then it happens again later where they're talking to Bashir, and Bashir has the standard uniform on. He didn't put on his dress uniform, although Dax has the dress uniform on. He goes, I lost it. I'm like, why can't you just replicate it? And then they literally replicate something literally right after that. And I'm just like, I don't know. What do you guys think about this? This first part of the episode, this is what bothered me.
This is one of the many great, Cisco father-son moments that we get on Deep Space Nine. And the talk, hey, Dad, what are you talking about? Jake's, he's starting to date girls. We see he goes on to date a lot of Dabo girls and other Bajoran women.
He's like, hey, Dad, I know about girls. He's like, you don't know about girls. He's like, yeah, I learned from Nog.
Yeah, Nog. Yeah,
Lady Killer Nog.
Lady Killer Nog.
I'm like, Nog's not getting any girls. What's going on here? Come on. Is he?
Is a couple of weeks ago.
And the best part about this episode is that they still hate Bashir. Every one of them.
Oh yeah.
They still hate.
How can you not?
I mean, he didn't even put the dress uniform on.
Okay.
Yeah, and Cisco makes fun of him when they're playing through the game. He's like, because he screams. It's my favorite.
He's like, okay, hold on, I can find that.
Wait. Yeah. One of the great moments of the beginning of it is Bashir letting everyone know that he doesn't have his dress uniform. And if you watch back, he's getting way too close into everyone's faces, uncomfortably so.
Yeah, he's close talking.
I'm like, he must have bad breath. I bet you. Right? And everyone's just kind of recoiling every time he talks. Right? Oh my gosh, it's this episode.
Doctor.
Oh God! I thought I was having a nightmare.
We are having a nightmare, Alexander, today.
No, we did have the nightmare. Yeah, this was a tough episode. Holy man.
I mean, start to finish, they really bring it. They bring the level of acting on all parts. I mean, they're all kind of just phoning it in because I feel like they read the script and were like, "What is this?"
I don't want to jump the gun on fun facts with Jeff, but my favorite thing I read on IMDb today was it said Ronald D. Moore stated that when he watched this episode prior to joining the writing staff, that he was wondering if everyone had lost their minds. This episode was just so ridiculous, even from a Star Trek writer's standpoint, who was trying to probably be supportive. What was this, Jeff?
I mean, I feel like it was like a bottle episode that they just wanted to get through, and
they build all these big sets and
I know
hopscotch, and they hired all these aliens and whatever.
Money was spent on this episode. The whole set of where the game is, like, there's a few different sets where they have there's the room, the hopscotch room. They have a bunch of different hallways that they reuse, I'm sure, but I mean, they never reused this again.
Burned.
It burned to the ground. I'm sure they took it out into the Paramount backlot and just burned it and just, threw it in a big container and just had a nice bonfire.
Right. And these were other than Tosk, these were the first aliens where we're meeting from the Gamma Quadrant.
Yeah.
And it between Tosk and these people, I'd be like, who cares about the Gamma Quadrant? It's full of a bunch of boring aliens, apparently.
This thing that's supposed to be exciting and make it as boring as possible.
Yeah.
Like, it's almost like it's like Voyager was had to bring it with good alien races and somewhat interesting alien races. Deep Space Nine clearly did not care. They were like, we're never bringing back this thing, and they have no, it's like they know, like at the end of the episode, it's like, maybe we'll play another game, and it's like, you're not playing another game.
Just say that at the end, just in case we want to start this as a recurring character, the Alan Moraine people.
Oh.
Love it. Right. So I mean, the only redeemable part about this episode is Quark. Quark is the only one I like in the episode where I go, okay, it's watchable, really, only for him and maybe a little bit Odo. The rest of the characters are I love Kira though. Kira makes me laugh in this episode because she's so pissed off.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. She's like, maybe you Starfleet people would like that.
Yeah. She's like, I know you guys find this fascinating, but I don't give a fuck about this. I'm a Bajoran security officer. This is bullshit right now.
She calls herself a Bajoran administrator.
Administrator.
I work a desk job, pal. Yeah. I got personnel reports coming up out of every quarter here. Like, what do you want? I'm not here to play your games. How did they get into their uniforms? I didn't understand that because Sisko was in bed in his pajamas, and then he gets abducted into this game, and then all of a sudden he's in his uniform. They have tricorders. Why did they give them tricorders?
Unclear.
Reasons.
Yeah.
Reasons. Because can you imagine Sisko had to the whole time wear his pajamas in the game land? Like,
that would have been a better episode.
It would have been more interesting for sure.
So,
all right, any thoughts, guys? I mean, this episode is just so ridiculous that we could take it seriously, but why bother?
If this was in modern times, that everyone would still be in their PJs, and they would use Dax as like a little bit of adult content, and you could have Bashir kind of like, oh my gosh, Jadzia, I'd save you, or I'll be right behind, or something like that. This is just, I cherish this episode. If there was wallpaper that I can paint this command center with, it would have Alan Moraine all over it. This is, oh my gosh, I
this is your anthem, Alan Moraine. Is that what you're saying?
That's gonna be my ringtone for. It is.
Well, I've been pulling clips. Don't worry.
All right, Kevin and Ashley, what are your thoughts on this episode? How much do you love it? Could you love it more?
I mean,
go ahead.
I could love it more because I don't love it at all.
Well, why not?
It's fine. It's not the worst DS9 episode ever made, but
it's terrible. But I've just found what I liked about it, and that's that everybody hated Bashir.
Yes,
and it's worth watching to watch them be just hostile to him.
Yes, and when he dies at the beginning, he dies at one part, he's just gone, and you're like, okay, well, that's the end of Bashir. I'm sure a lot of fans were like, yes,
yeah,
yeah. But then you hear that it turns out to be his ghost later on. It's a real tease because you're like, is he dead? No, he's back to life. But no, maybe he is dead because it was just a guy. But then
maybe that was a metaphorical killing of Lane.
And I like Bashir later. I know that he goes on to do great things and great episodes.
I never used to like him, but in rewatching this with Ashley, I like Bashir a lot more. Because now we see him for who he is, like what he's supposed to be in the show.
Season 5, Bashir is way better than
way different.
Way different, than season 1.
Slightly less horny.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. Like he does have some great episodes later on. Like he does like a lot of the Section 31 stuff.
I'm not there yet.
Right. I can't spoil it for Ashley. Ashley is not finished the series yet, Jaemeel.
I'm a first-time watcher of DS9 right now.
Right. So I'm not spoiling anything, but I'm saying that Bashir goes on to be a likable character. I don't think
that's fine. Just don't give.
Right.
Exactly.
So, just as like the last 10 episodes, is it but for sure the worst one?
I think so.
Well, let's look. Here, I got the ratings. The lowest episode we've done so far was last week, which was The Passenger.
Which was Bashir episode.
That was the Bashir episode. Yeah.
Passenger.
That's the one where Bashir gets basically possessed by a dead man, and then he like goes all psycho, and then
okay,
slowly.
Yeah.
Talent, I suppose.
What was his name? The most evil man to ever exist. What was his name?
Ventica.
Yeah, Vantica.
Yeah,
that's right.
Ray Vantica.
He was the worst of the worst. You've never seen worse than Ray Vantica. And this episode,
he had done experiments and all kinds of things.
He was pretty mediocre.
Yeah, overall, I mean, he was. They
had a reputation. That's all.
He had a hot reputation. I mean. Anyway, in this episode, we get this new alien race. What are they even called? They're called the
I don't know.
We never see them again.
They are called the Wadi. The
Wadi. Sorry, they're called the Wadi, and the game is called Chula.
Right. And these guys feel like original series aliens. Like they don't even feel like TNG aliens. They feel like original series. Like they literally painted some fucking like cubes on their forehead, and they were like, "There's your alien race. Deal with it."
Yeah. And they love games. They show up. They don't want to talk diplomacy. Yeah. They're not even interested in commerce. They're just here to gamble.
How do they know about Quark's bar at the beginning? He's like, "Oh, first contact. They're all dressed up. They're all excited." And he's like, "I don't want to talk to you. Where's Quark's bar? How does he know about Quark's bar?"
Webpage.
Yeah, because to this time, the only person from the Gamma Quadrant was Tusk.
Yeah, did Tusk go back and tell these guys?
No, they say that some ship had run into somebody out there and told them about it, but.
That's a stretch, Dave.
It's very vague. I'm pretty sure that's what they said.
Webpage. DS9 webpage.
I do. All right. What do you guys think about the scene where, so they all go to bed, or at least they show Cisco going to bed, and then they end up in this, he thinks it's the holodeck at first, and then he thinks it's, then he's like, am I on a ship? And he doesn't know where he is, right? And then after that, we get to see Odo and what's the security guy? He was in the last episode too.
Lieutenant Palmer or some. Oh man, this is bad. I used to have my facts.
It doesn't really matter.
Lieutenant Primmin,
and what Starfleet officer acts like Lieutenant Primmin does, where Yodo comes up, he's like, "Where's Cisco?" And he's like, "I don't know. They're all late. All the senior staff are late." He's like, "How long have you been a security officer?" He's like, 10 years.
6 years. 6 years.
6 years. Yeah, whatever he says.
Yeah. He's like, "You're the worst." And then he's like, "Don't call me constable. I'm the chief of security." He's like, "Yes, sir." And he's like, and I like it later on when he's like, "I'm not in Starfleet, you dope."
Yeah. I like Odo in this episode. He's probably my favorite part, other than him and Quark. Any thoughts on Lieutenant Primmin, guys?
Not he's asleep at the
Yeah.
at the helm, you know.
He
What do you
sucks?
want?
He sucks like the episode.
I think I understand why they didn't keep him around. Like, I think Cisco probably got off duty and said, "Why did no one notice we were gone until 10 a.m.?"
I think it's pretty clear that this episode and last episode, there's no Cole Meany, so the writers are like, we just need to get through this fucking 2 episodes because we need Cole Meany back. We cannot keep doing this show without Cole Meany.
And there can be no technological or engineering issue because he's not there to deal with it. So the storylines can't have that at all. So I think we get stuck with some other stories, maybe because of that.
Right. Yeah, so I blame Cole Meany having to go make that movie and get nominated for a Golden Globe for these 2 episodes, especially. So he's to blame.
Snapper.
So yeah, I mean, I don't even know where to take this, guys. I mean, this episode is a slog.
Let's talk about
Alan Moraine song. Come on.
All right, we're getting to the Alan Moraine. Okay, so we see Quark, invites these guys down to play Dabo, and he's basically rigging the table to make them lose. And they go through all these different things that the Wadi have, like sticks. And what else did they have, Dave? They had sticks, and they had something else that was
juice, really gross juice.
Really gross juice. Well, at least Quark didn't like. Maybe a human would like it. And then he shows off some gems, and then Quark's interested. Okay, so that's basically
get him some drinks.
How does Quark even know that those are worth anything?
Most of the time, Quark just wants platinum.
Other place.
Yeah,
they commission else.
He assumes everything is valuable because.
Why didn't you take the sticks? Those are.
I don't know. You know what? He's they're priceless in their culture. He doesn't ask why or what did they do or why do you use them or.
They show later why they use them. They're banging them together during the game. They're like, yeah,
boomsticks.
That's what they're for.
Yeah.
They used them as boomsticks. This episode has everything. It
has
everything.
It has sex appeal. It has action. It has comedy. It has drama.
It's got parenting. It's got formal diplomacy.
It's got security issues.
Oh my gosh! Cisco just need to punch someone. That's all that was missing. Yell more. He didn't yell enough.
Cisco did not yell enough. He yelled a little bit at Bashir.
Oh no, yes, he did. But he also made fun of him in the game.
But I want things to go right from this moment on. Clear.
Yes.
I'm just reading the synopsis of this episode. So when they wake up from the in the game, it just says hearing faint cries for help. He finds Dr. Bashir, who is believes this dream is. This is a dream and is trying to wake himself up. And it's Kira and Dax hear the screams of Dr. Bashir in the distance and they go to investigate. It's
the screams.
Standing up.
That's kind. I think that's kind.
Yeah.
But does he sleep standing up?
Yes. They find him that way.
Yeah. Well, Cisco was on the ground, so.
Right.
I just seem to have a talent, I suppose.
Maybe Bashir wasn't asleep when he got sucked into the game. He was actually working or standing up or whatever. He was on duty, and then he just all of a sudden ended up.
He thought he was in a dream, though.
Well, yeah, he said he was, but I mean, we can't believe anything Bashir says.
I don't understand why they couldn't do this episode in their pajamas. It was just as ridiculous. It was just so crazy. This whole thing.
If you're gonna go ridiculous, go full ridiculous.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's what I say. Yeah, but no, they're all in their standard gear and whatever, so it's fine. But
all right, so Quark rigs the Dabo table, and then the Wadi find out, especially the main guy. I forget his name, but he's the Wadi leader. He's an interesting guy anyway. So he finds out, and then he's like, "Okay, we gotta play a game. We gotta do this, right?" And I don't know. What do you think of the Wadi leader? Did he bring much to the episode? He's in it a lot.
He's in it a lot. They leaned hard into this guy. He's just so weird. I don't know. He's in the game sometimes going "You're a cha-cha two, or whatever he's
Yeah. He's
just he's this little pixie guy. I don't know what he is
So basically, this game is a series of tests that these people are in this artificial reality, that they're playing, and they got to figure out like Quark keeps picking the safe path on the game, but like it's always like they got to do the hopscotch Alamarine thing, which let's just get right into it. Okay, so that's the first one. Basically, they walk. That's the first door that opens. They walk in there and they see this little girl doing Alamarine and 4 more, whatever the fuck she says. Alamarine and 3 more.
Oh, I have it. If you insist.
Let's play it. Let's play it. We got to. It's the most memorable thing about this episode. We have to play it.
Then
it goes on.
Yeah, they got to do
have
like
to tell you for a long time. But here we go.
Kenzie, Alamarine.
Hello.
Come with me. Alamarine.
I can't.
Alamarine.
Can you tell us where we are?
4 other people that would be worse singing together.
Is there a way to leave?
Alamarine.
Do you think we're supposed to do something?
Well, this is the first door that's open for us. I want to know where it goes.
Who do you think we're supposed to do?
Are you all right?
You know what? At least he asked the right. He actually asked the right question. The rest of them did not. But because Bashir is so ridiculous, it still came out ridiculous.
Yeah, you don't care. You're like, do you think we're supposed to do something? Shut up, Bashir.
Bashir, you suck.
Yeah,
we're gonna ask this little girl to get out of here.
Are you gonna cry out in fear again?
I did everything.
Yeah, no, I love that. Are we supposed to do something? It's like, and then. So then Tajia tries to just no. Bashir does it first. He just tries to follow the steps with the hopscotch. Walks into the force field. That's actually after Kira does it.
Yeah,
Kira just
he does the steps.
Right.
Doesn't say the rhyme, and then Jadzia's like, "No, you didn't do everything. I'll do it."
Yeah, you got to say the rhyme.
You got to say the rhyme.
And you also have to do the. She also adds like the actions, right?
Alamarine, count to 4. Alamarine, then 3 more, and then Alamarine. You can see Alamarine. Come with me.
Right.
Well,
and then.
Can you imagine but they picked the worst characters to sing together.
Yes.
Yeah, no, this little harmony they do is not good.
Alamarine, count to 4. Alamarine, then 3 more.
Alamarine, then 3 more. Alamarine, if you can see. Alamarine, you'll come with me.
Alamarine, you'll come with me.
Kira has a lovely singing voice, I have to tell you.
Why did they have to do it like one after the other? Couldn't they just like one person go through it, then another person go through it? Like they had to like step over themselves.
They did
likely that they would mess up the words because
for sure, or the actions.
That was a choice. That was a deliberate choice that they said, like, no, we have to get
we want this song going on for 3 more different iterations.
I was like, I think we'll lose every Star Trek fan if we spend more than 25 seconds on this Alamarine thing.
But Dave, did you get the clip of the guy actually going Alamarine?
Yeah. No, that happens late. Yeah, like slightly later when they get.
I cannot wait for the next.
The main guy really reminded me a lot of you, Kevin. Like I was like, Kevin could play this part if we didn't read through this episode.
And it goes on here, and he goes.
Alamarine. 3rd chap.
Alamarine.
Alamarine.
I need that as a clip. Holy.
Oh,
geez.
that's the best.
Probably in his room right now. What is going on in there?
Alamarine.
So I kept looking at this guy and I kept thinking it was Kevin, especially because he has like the Fu Manchu like mustache. I'm like, this is Kevin. What's going on? I'm stoned, so I probably has something to do with it. But
hold on, we have to qualify that for a second. Let's bring him in.
We gotta do a side by side.
Is there some comparison here? Maybe.
I think so. I think if Kevin had,
I used to have hair that long too.
Yeah,
like could be a relative. I don't know.
So when you did the Alamarine thing, Kevin, if I had flashes,
Halloween costume.
That's your Halloween costume. You got it's easiest Halloween costume ever. You got to buy a wig and put some purple squares on your forehead. Wear something sparkly.
Yeah, something sparkly.
And just walk into every room you walk in and go, Alamarine!
Easiest Halloween costume ever. You're welcome. I'm that guy. I'm the guy from Move Along Home.
And Ashley, you should play.
No,
Yeah, I'll share my screen. You should play the girl that's like his right hand woman.
Me?
Yeah, so like share my screen for a sec, Dave. You'll see it here. This is your costume.
Okay.
You want the one with the box?
Yeah, the one with the box. So this is your Halloween costume. It's done.
I already know mine, and nothing beats it.
Oh, okay. Okay, so the next thing that they have to figure out is the room starts filling with smoke, and everyone's drinking like this, like champagne.
I forgot about this,
right? And in that scene where like at first, like Bashir's like, should we drink this? They're offering it to us, and Cisco's like, don't drink that.
Anything. Don't drink or eat anything.
Yeah, don't drink or eat anything, you dumb idiot.
Don't listen to the doctor.
There's a reason we don't bring you on missions, and this is why.
Is this the second time he's right?
We're all talking, but don't listen to the doctor. He's an idiot.
Yeah, he's right again. Like Bashir is the reason they keep solving these problems, yet he always comes across as the idiot. It's hilarious.
They hate him. It's awesome. I love it.
Bashir throws down the food too.
He has to win them over.
Yeah, and it takes like 3 seasons.
Yeah.
Maybe 2. He's okay by season 3.
I was very impressed, Doctor.
And well, you should have been.
So great.
Oh. Doctor, he's a smug guy, but and he's always right. And then when he turns out to be genetically engineered, I thought that was that way of bringing that back to him, right? When he was just like, yeah, he was totally better than all of you all the time, and he was kind of always acting that way for a reason. But then I don't know, We'll have to get it to when O'Brien finally gets around to being his friend. O'Brien hates him in the beginning, right? And we'll have to get to that. Oh, sorry, Ashley, I didn't mean to derail that. I know that. But anyway,
you didn't know they were friends?
That was a really
she knows that they were friends. Yes.
No,
okay.
but he spoiled I didn't know he was genetically engineered.
Oh, that part. He is. Sorry.
Hey,
yeah,
yeah, I know.
Hey, we're stuck in Alamarainville here. We're talking about season 1, episode 10, and season 1, episode 10 only.
Right. I just think about how Bashir's always just a smug guy back in these days. But
he's only had 25 years to watch the damn thing.
Yeah, it's not. Yeah, he's like, what is Star Trek? I've never heard of this.
DS9. I mean, that's not TNG. That's not your father's Star Trek.
I've watched all of the others except for Deep Space Nine.
Yeah. So okay, and then the next one is when like I guess Cork rolls wrong or whatever, and he sends like this light projection thing into the game, and then that's when everyone hides except Bashir. Bashir just decides to like put himself on the door, and he's like, "Take me." He's like, "Kill me. I want to die. I don't want to be in this world anymore."
These fucking people hate me. Wherever you're taking me's got to be better.
Yeah, this is sucks.
You guys are gonna make the next room without me.
I've solved both things, and everybody hates me. So
we got a comment here live coming from Sterling, from Australia, coming to us from Australia.
It's like what, like 9? It's like almost noon, or what time is it there?
It's like tomorrow. It's like tomorrow afternoon.
He's in the future.
He's in the future. Just wanted to acknowledge that. Hey, today's Sterling, man.
July 17th there, or June 17th. June 17th.
Happy We the North Day, Sterling.
Was this the day they won the championship, Jaemeel?
No, actually Saturday was, but tomorrow was what Mayor Tory has placed as We the North Day, the 17th, which is tomorrow.
Oh, cool. Did you say? Well, I know we're dashing off here, but did you hear that they're having a new third jersey and a new tweak to the logo, which I hope is good because I'm not a big fan of the new logo.
Just a ball in the claw.
Yeah, I don't like it. I like the original logo, but I mean, which is also interesting because when did this episode come out? 1993. So yeah. This is a pre-Toronto Raptors episode.
This is a pre-Raptor world, yes.
Yeah, it's pre-Raptor world.
That explains a lot of things here, yes.
Toronto Alamarine.
This is 1993. This is the year Jurassic Park came out, though. This
The
is
Toronto Alamarines.
Right.
Everyone in the crowd goes, Alamarine.
Great.
You gotta get just that soundbite, the Alamarine one, because we can play that whenever and it will always be funny.
This episode played in March of '93, and Jurassic Park didn't come out till June of '93. But there was no trailers.
See,
So it could have been the Toronto Alamarines. He's right.
Just didn't catch on. Spielberg ruined it.
Yeah.
So, okay, eventually, Odo finds out what's going on because he goes down to Quark's and he figures out that Quark's playing this game and that he cheated at the Dabo, and this is kind of like the revenge from this Wadi race that's playing this like crazy 3D chess, but it's actually like a simulation game. So basically, Quark and Odo are watching. They are playing the game, or he's watching Quark play the game, and they're rolling dice. And they're at one point they have to, he says you have to sacrifice one of your pieces because once Bashir gets sucked by the, when he's on the door and he gets sucked in by the light, they have to move his piece down like 3 snags or whatever they call it, or is that what they call it? What they call it?
Shats or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
Not the first chap. That's the children.
Yeah, it's represented by the most boring game pieces ever, the most boring board ever. It's not even like, even for what it's supposed to be, it's terrible.
It would have been better had like the game pieces like you knew who was who, but at one point, like I get why they didn't do it because Quark has to pick 1 to sacrifice and 2 to save. He's like, I can't do that, and it would have been interesting if he was like, oh, Bashir, or like he just like didn't care about one of the characters. That would have been hilarious.
He's not giving up near Major or Dak, so
right.
I don't think he would have picked Bashir because Bashir is always drinking at Quark's bar.
Right. He probably would have picked Cisco.
I think he does more drinking than he does.
He didn't want it. He didn't want Jadzia to get it, though. That's for sure. That's who he was afraid would die.
Because he was hoping Jadzia would get it.
Right.
He didn't want it. He probably didn't like Kira enough.
Kira Cisco, he would have picked for sure.
Yeah.
He hit on Kira in the pilot, so.
Can we just talk about that little begging session that Quark does?
I mean,
just don't make me do this. Anything but this. Please. Please.
For your Emmy consideration.
Please.
This is unedited, folks.
He was gonna grab something from underneath the table. I haven't seen this episode.
He sounded like Krusty there for a minute.
yeah, that's exactly what he sounds like. Which makes sense.
It goes on for a really long time.
Really long time.
Yeah, I'm uncomfortable for the Wati.
They're like, we don't have enough stuff to show in this episode.
They could have done I feel like the writing was just like they could have done more games that would have been a little bit more interesting or something. They literally like smoke fills a room, they have to drink a liquid. Like that's what you wrote. Like
that's the puzzle they had to figure out.
Yeah, that was the puzzle. Like they have to do a hopscotch and say a rhyme. Like what? Who wrote this shit?
High stakes.
Yeah.
Jeez,
but Kira's gonna be with them, and she's not in Starfleet. She doesn't like this.
Sometimes
Bashir is an idiot.
Yeah. So sometimes like this is apparently the story here is by Michael Pillar, which he's like one of the guys, like the main guys, right? And it's just like he also, but like so sometimes he writes like yesterday's Enterprise, and then other times he comes out and he writes friggin' this or Insurrection, and you're like, what's going on with this guy? Like, what are you doing? Like,
not everything can be
I guess you can't write a hit song every single time, can you? Like, I guess that's what it means. Like, every now and then you got to write just some sort of album filler, and this is the most of the album filler episodes that I can think of.
2 more coming up.
But here's the thing.
Season 2 has a lot more filler episodes than season 1.
Right. I find like with like these bad episodes, they become the most memorable for me because they are so ridiculous, and like you get like a quote like Alamarine, and you'll never forget that. Like I couldn't tell you a single line from last week's episode. You know, like whereas this episode, I know Alamarine and I know Alamarine. So both of those things are fantastic. So automatically, I have to say this episode's better than last week's episode, and I will do so in my ratings.
What also was missing was Cisco phasering Bashir, though. That was also missing in this episode.
Right.
The last episode was great.
What do you guys think about that? Cisco phasering Bashir.
I like it.
Right.
I think Cisco liked it.
And I think the other two liked watching.
Yeah. He's like, you wouldn't shoot your doctor? He's like, yeah, I would. I've been waiting for a reason.
Now I can get a new one.
So why do they end up in like this rock formation set instead of like they were on like a ship before or like that sort of a thing? Like all of a sudden they're like in this rock cliff area, and they're like it's because the game became harder as they went down these shelves or whatever, and it's just like now, but like I didn't get that. I was like, why are they all of a sudden like on a cliff or like, and then they got to make this jump, but like Jedzia's hurt, and like, you know, so he's like, we'll get around. And then Dax says some cold ass shit. She's like, if it were you, I'd fucking jump. Fuck you. You know, I was like, Jesus Christ, Dax. Like, what do you guys think about that?
Convince them to leave her.
I know, but it came across pretty good. Yeah,
what was that moment meant to be? Yeah, like I was trying to figure that out. Like, why?
My thought process was, they kind of set up this whole like one of them gets injured and it just so happens to be Dax. So it's like, okay, you got to leave her, and then they wouldn't leave her, so they're like, okay, we got to up the stakes, right? And it's like you can't drag her across this chasm, and they're like, okay, well they're doing it. And it's like, well, they're gonna shake it a little bit more, and it's like, well, no, they're not leaving her. So it's like, screw it, fuckers, all of them get thrown into the chasm, right? That's right. What I got from it.
Yeah, that's exactly what happened for sure. I think it's just like the Jedzia like getting hurt thing, and then like she was like, yeah, like said like I guess like you're right. Like they might have written that part. They could have written that part for any of those characters. I think you're right. It was like, no, you guys go. I would do this for you. I would do this to you. So you got to, you know, don't feel bad, kind of thing is what she's saying. But it comes across like pretty cold. Just her delivery.
Yeah, because I guess it's supposed to be like when she was the mentor and he was the student, but now it's
reversing a little bit. But she's also says to her, like, I've lived 7 lifetimes, and you guys, you know, you've barely lived 1. So
like she's kind of thrown in the towel a little too easily, you know. And then like we saw in her trial that she was willing to die.
Yeah, all like it's all about the symbiote, and they make sure that they live, and it's this big tragedy if one dies. Except in this situation where she's like, fuck it, I've lived a bunch.
Yeah.
So you guys just go.
If I died Alamarine Town, whatever.
Alamarine's got to be my end. I mean, it's been a good 7 lives.
I have a sense of humor about the thing, really. I never thought it'd be me and Alamarine.
If I have to die in this shitty episode.
Yeah. I mean, it's a good question. Does Dax have a death wish in season 1? I mean,
seems like it.
She's very suicidal. She in the trial episode of Dax. She was.
I think if Dax is depressed, she's working for Cisco now, because Cisco used to be her or his when it was Curzon. When Curzon was in charge of Cisco, now Cisco's in charge of Dax. So it's flipped around.
It's almost like the actors are like, are we sure we're gonna keep, you know, Terry Farrell? Are we gonna keep, you know, but yeah, Alexander Siddig? Are we gonna keep?
Lieutenant Primmin? Will Lieutenant Primmin be a regular on this show for years to come?
Why not put Lieutenant Primmin in Alamarine Town and then kill him? That would have been, because he never comes back.
Put him to some use. If you're gonna bring him in,
if you're gonna bring him in, don't make him like the idiot that like is like, yeah, I think they all got drunk last night at the party. I mean,
I'd rather him be an idiot. I hated him from the beginning. I'm glad they made him into a dummy. Like,
Odo filed a complaint. He's like, "Is this what Starfleet has to offer? This guy's a lieutenant. Like, come on."
Yeah, those 4 officers just got drunk and didn't come to work. Like, ever happened.
Yeah.
How
And
does
then
that
Odo's
guy-
like, yeah, like Cisco's kid had to come tell me he was missing.
yeah.
Wait, so did Jake check his office? Because if he did, that means he would have been in ops and passed Freeman.
Freeman.
I'm gonna talk to his
What up,
lawyer.
Jake?
I'm gonna talk to Odo.
How's it going this morning?
Yeah. Do you know where my dad is? He got drunk last night.
Or I like the version where Jake Sisko doesn't even bother to ask him because he just knows that, like, Ben Sisko's like, that guy's an idiot. I can't wait to get this guy out the station.
Yeah, we need Cole Meany back. We need Chief O'Brien back now.
Yeah, and this guy's not even an engineer. It's not like they would be doing the same things. I
Why
guess.
did they just cast this guy as an engineer? Like, why did they cast him as security? They already have a security guy. Oh no! Like,
yeah, it's a little. I don't know.
He was expendable, right? He was
Yeah,
definitely expendable.
I would have
"Is
loved
there
to
a
have seen
waiting
him.
mission
I
that
love that in
you're being on?
Yeah.
I love that in the first episode he's on, he's like questioning Odo's ability as a security officer.
Right.
And then in this one, he's like, everybody's just drunk. It's fine.
Yeah, fine. You know, I'm holding down the fort. I don't know where any of them are. I mean, they didn't show up. So, I mean, what do you want me to do about it? I'm here.
I'm not even curious about where they are.
I mean, I know where they are. They probably got a little wet and wild last night.
They taught me that at the academy.
Great.
Oh my god! Like, this episode is so not in the realm of Star Trek. Nobody's acting correctly. Like,
It sums it up well. Like when Baltimore said, like, I thought they had lost their minds. Like, yeah, you're like, yeah.
all right, yeah.
I got a comment about the rock scene where it seemed like they were, overacting. The pillars coming down. It seemed like it stopped and they kept moving. Special effects. This episode is a mess. I love it.
Okay, I'm going to go into fun facts with Jeff here just to keep a few things about how much of a mess this episode really was. At the 50th anniversary Star Trek convention in Las Vegas in 2016, fans voted this as the worst episode of Star Trek Deep Space Nine and the 8th worst episode overall of the Star Trek franchise.
Of all Star Trek. That's a lot.
Trek.
There's a lot of episodes.
A lot of episodes. I mean that says something about Deep Space Nine that they're not in the top 7 of the worst episodes.
Well, if this is the worst that Deep Space Nine has to offer, then so be it. Like,
this isn't the worst that Deep Space Nine has to offer. There are worse.
we'll see. We'll see if we.
Hey, like I said, I'd rather watch this episode because it fucking makes me laugh. And the Alamarine, and it's only a game. What is that?
They don't bang the sticks together.
And at the end, he goes, "It's only a game." Just the way he says that makes me laugh.
There you go.
Oh yeah, let me find that. Oh jeez.
So Avery Brooks has singled this out as no favorite of mine.
Was he talking about Bashir or?
Yeah, he's talking about Bashir. Terry Farrell's work on this episode prevented her from appearing in Star Trek The Next Generation Birthright Part 1, which was filmed around the same time. Alexander Siddig guest starred instead. So I guess that was that scene I showed from a couple of weeks ago.
So that's why he disappeared so early.
Yeah, that's why they had to kill him in Alamarine Town. Okay, according to one of the writers, Jean Kerrigan Facci, the name of the game Chula comes from Chutes and Ladders, as the maze game is a 3-dimensional form of the game. Yeah, it's a 3-dimensional version of Chutes and Ladders, Dave. That's what this episode is.
That's what it felt like. He's like, only children started the first Shatra. And I'm like, what the?
I would buy that if they went back to the hopscotch, if they messed up or something, or like they went the wrong way.
Back.
Yeah. And they're like, oh, not this thing again.
Okay, so this episode was nominated for an Emmy Award for Outstanding Individual Achievement in Hairstyling for a series.
What? What?
I can't even think of one memorable hairstyle.
All of the aliens.
Yeah, we showed you the Kevin lookalike had the most magnificent mullet going.
Yeah, had like mullets or whatever.
Yeah, but the females had hairstyles.
Although it was the 90s. So.
Yeah.
That might be my favorite fun fact of all time.
So was this the only nomination Deep Space Nine got in its first season?
What beat it? Can we find out what beat it?
I don't know. We have to look in 1994, who won the Emmy Award for outstanding individual achievement in hairstyling?
Those two questions I want to know. Like on the box of the season 1 DVD, does it say like Emmy nominated, and it puts underneath like, the name of the episode, and they're like, "Well, we got to watch that one." It's nominated.
I just watch it through. The hairstyles are magnificent.
Yeah, I don't know what the episode was about, but who cares? You know, that's not what this is. This is a primetime syndicated TV show. Come on.
Okay, so okay, they only won. Okay, that year they won outstanding individual achievement in main title theme music, so they won for that. But everything else, they lost. But they got nominated for a bunch of things that year: art direction, hairstyling, sound editing, individual achievement in sound mixing, makeup. But yeah, they only won for music. But let's see who won that year for the hairstyling. Let's see if I can find it.
Come on, Night Court. Come on, Night Court.
Night Court? I think Night Court was done by this point.
The winner was Star Trek The Next Generation.
Oh, okay.
For what hairstyle did Star Trek The Next Generation do?
For episode Time's Arrow, Part 2.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, but that's the back, all the back in time stuff. Like 1800s, Samuel Clemens, and what's that other author, Jack?
So they discovered the Guinan was on.
Oh,
Earth.
yeah, okay, with Mark Twain.
Mark Twain, yeah. That's it.
That is a good episode.
The Wadi ship was the first appearance of this type of vessel. Later in the series, it was frequently seen as a Bajoran transport vessel. Later,
Yeah,
as
like this ship looks just like a Bajoran ship. And then, is that what they did? They just said, this is a Bajoran ships now.
No one's gonna
Yeah.
watch this episode.
They like the Wadi style, and then they started building all their ships like Wadi ships.
Yeah. Wadi looked alien enough to look different from other cultures. So maybe
Just like the Wadi hairstyle caught on Bajor. It was nominated for awards all over Bajor.
I mean, I guess when they got nominated for like an episode like this, they're like, maybe we did do something right in that episode.
Hairstyles.
It was all about that ship design. They loved that ship design, and we'll just throw it in as the Bajorans.
This episode shares several thematic elements with Voyager: The Thaw. In both episodes, crew members are transported to a surreal environment where casualty and logic are deranged, and where they are mocked for their efforts to escape.
Yeah, it also reminds me of the episode of Voyager where and I can't remember that actor's name right now, but where fear is controlling it.
Oh, that's a good Voyager episode.
Yeah, that's kind of like the same thing where you go into this, like, it's not a holodeck, but you're sort of in this other environment, and that's kind of what this was, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so in a deleted scene, guys, Bashir
what didn't make the episode? What wasn't good enough to be in this episode?
Bashir whispers to Dax that he is considering having Garrick make him a new dress uniform, although Jadzia isn't sure it would be appropriate to have a Cardassian tailor a Starfleet uniform.
I wish that was
actually do a scene that was worse than anything in the show. Terrible.
I really wish that that was in the episode.
That's not what you meant.
More than a lot of other things.
And that's not what he meant.
The design of the Chula game and the maze set includes several elements that seem to refer to aspects of role-playing games such as Dungeons and Dragons. The triangular grid pattern on the floor of the maze is similar to those used on many role-playing games, Matt. I did notice that when I was watching this episode. I was like, this is like D&D. Like the dice really reminded me of D&D. And so I was like, okay, so that kind of, maybe it was like all the rage at that time. I'm sure it was, right? D&D, right? In 93.
Sure,
D&D's all the rage all the time.
Yeah, it's not unusual for people who write for Star Trek
Right.
to D&D.
Right. So, I mean, we shouldn't be surprised when episodes like this pop up.
They're probably hoping this episode would take off so that they would make their sell the Franklin Mint version of this game.
That's right.
I have a Franklin three-dimensional chess set, so I was eagerly awaiting the Tula. Was it Tula?
The Tula?
Tula.
Joel Brooks, who plays Follow, who's also known as Ala Moraine.
What's his name?
His name's Follow.
No, but the actor.
Joel Brooks.
Joe Brooks. Okay.
His costume was sold on sold off on an online auction. What do you guys think about that? I mean,
well,
$18.
Some lucky fan has that guy's uniform. Probably puts it on and walks around just going, "A la Moraine!" It's only a game.
Okay. Yeah. I just want to.
You got it.
I do. I just want to show him for a second. One moment. Take me off. Put him on. Can you see that? Like he looks like that's the actor now, roughly.
Right.
He doesn't just look like La Moraine. Like he's been saying it his entire life.
Yeah, probably. I mean,
Get that picture.
Was that?
I said he looks like he's saying it in that
In the picture.
Yeah,
Exactly.
He's probably thinking about that episode. He's
like, I'm famous from the Alan Moraine episode.
But it's his crowning achievement.
Yes, favorite acting job ever.
He's gonna tell his grandkids. Like
He was on Murder, She Wrote. He was on My Sister, whatever that was. Ally McBeal. He was.
You don't know Sister.
I don't know that. Style and Substance, 1998. I don't know that either, but
no clue.
He appeared in that.
So in the scene where they have to drink the liquids or whatever, like all the other three, Kira, Bashir, and Dax all drink from a clear glass, but Cisco walks over to Follow, Joel Brooks' character, and drinks from an orange tinted glass. And you can't really see what the liquid is, but I'm guessing it's the same liquid.
Why would they do that? Why was that?
No idea.
I did notice that when it happened, and I was like, "Why?" Like it was.
I didn't notice that.
It doesn't give an explanation. It just says that's what happened.
Maybe Avery Brooks said, "I'm not drinking that orange liquid," and that was
I think that's exactly probably what happened. Is Avery Brooks was like, "I just will drink water, just put it in an orange glass." I'm guessing that's probably exactly what happened.
I don't drink juice.
Probably, yeah. He probably said, "I read something about that orange dye, in food coloring or whatever is no good."
He is kind of crazy, so yeah, it might have been.
Could have been it.
This episode is not given a star date, but it's suggested that it happened even later than Dax, which, according to its own star date, occurred later than most of the other episodes in the season.
So this is a good amount of months later after they first arrived.
Yes, that's yeah.
Brian's been visiting Keiko's mother for a long time.
Right.
It's a good thing nobody really cares about the first season of this show because it jumps all over the place time line wise.
And finally, Clara Elise Bryant's young Wadi Chandra costume was sold off on an online auction as well. So some little girl, probably the same guy who bought Joe Brooks's costume, bought the little girl's costume as well. And and that's it. That's the most. Those are the fun facts.
That wasn't very fun. What was that? Let's get her in here.
Do you have him saying?
Do I have him saying this?
You mean?
Yes.
We were never in any real danger.
It's only a game.
It's only a game. I love his little laugh after. It's amazing.
This was a kidnapping. This was not cool what he did.
I think we got to do a read through, like yesterday's Enterprise. We got to do this episode, and Kevin, you have to play. Follow.
That's a big part. Right?
All right, if we do this episode, I'll do it.
Okay, you do Follow. You be Moraine.
Yeah.
That's a big commitment.
Okay, you guys want to rate this episode?
Oh God,
The dreaded. Okay, so this is considered to be one of the one DS9 episodes. Now it has a 5.9 on IMDb, which is pretty low considering that not a lot gets quite that low in terms of Star Trek content. But Jeff, do you ever want to give this rating first?
Sure. I'll give it a 3, the same as last week. It's bad, but it's not any better or worse than last week's episode for me.
Ashley Millard.
I'll give it a 5.
Evan?
I would also give this a 5. If you'd asked me before rewatching it, I would have given it a 1. But rewatching it and loving that they hate the Doctor, 5.
And Jaemeel?
6.5.
Wow. That is higher than last week. That is higher than... You like this as much as the second hour of Emissary.
I did. So much. Oh my gosh.
Dave, what are you rating it?
Wow, I can't say I like it that much.
Do you like it? All right, your worst ranking is A Man Alone.
Yeah, this is
right
worse. This is a 4, I think, for me.
Wow.
Yeah, so
on the high level.
that averages is that at a 4.7, and with so we're pretty low on this. This is the lowest thing we're on. Of anything else, actually, we'll have to get your scores for the other episodes afterwards.
Okay.
But anyway, yeah, not great. And
Fun.
I find the worst episodes are the funnest ones.
It's memorable. You can't go wrong with this, right?
I have a fun fact for this episode.
Oh, you have a fun fact?
Yeah, it's not very fun. It aired on my 9th birthday.
Oh, cool.
Hooray!
That's a fun fact for Dave.
Yeah.
Pisces power.
Things match up for birthdays.
So this was right before my 10th birthday?
9?
Yeah, it aired on March 14th, 1993. I was 9.
And I was almost just about 10. Yeah. I think I consider why I wasn't into the show in the first season. I think, how could I be, right? Like when Next Generation's going on, Next Generation's pumping out some pretty great episodes at this point compared to this.
Yeah.
It's not.
And that's what I've been saying since rewatching it now at the age I am now, that I don't. But when it first came out, I tried watching it. I was watching Next Generation when Deep Space Nine came out, and I think it was just that Next Gen was so good and had such a great cast that when I tried watching Deep Space Nine, I was like, "This is shit. This is the worst cast."
DS9 had to wait.
The characters, I didn't.
It was like a fine wine, Ashley.
No, well, they had.
I hated a bunch of the characters, but I think it was just I was young. I was 9 years old when it started, and I just don't think I understood. And because now I watch it, all the characters that I hated I like enough to keep watching it. And one of the characters I absolutely hated is one of my favorite characters now.
Mm-hmm. I feel like DS9 had to wait the 2 seasons to get all the TNG writers. They had to wait for TNG to end to get
halfway through season 2 now.
So. Well, and Ronald D. Moore gets to the show in season 3, and then you see the show really get much better, from there on.
Yeah, he's a great writer. He's done a lot of.
He goes on to do Battlestar, and just that alone, puts him in this great pantheon of great science fiction producers, writers, whatever you want to say.
Yeah,
we all.
Hey, my picture back there is it's Bashir, Dax, and Cisco working together.
Are they playing a kite? Like what?
Yeah,
working together.
Okay,
working together. No Bashir.
And just looking ahead to next week, what do we have in store?
Negus episode.
Negus. I enjoyed that episode.
Oh, it's the Negus episode next week. Okay.
Ferengi episodes, though.
Yeah, but I like
that. But as it goes on, the Ferengi episodes get awesome.
I love the Ferengi.
A lot of them do. But this is the introduction of the Negus. So that's exciting.
So it's the worst Ferengi episodes.
Yeah.
Ferengi are hit and miss for me. I either really love the episode or I'm like, oh, I don't like this episode.
I think most of the Ferengi stuff I like.
It all depends for me.
Later episodes of Frankie's.
Okay.
Well, I think we've said what we needed to say about Star Trek Deep Space Nine Season 1, Episode 10. Move along home.
Well, you only get to do this once, so we might as well savor it.
It's a fine wine, like you said.
This was a good one. Hey, it was what are we 27? 27 years later. Is that what this is?
Yeah, 27 years later.
Still holds up.
Still holds. It's still watchable. I wasn't like, oh, I can't watch this. I was more intrigued to how bad it was. But
I was uncomfortable through the Alan Moraine hopscotch sequence.
I was
like squirming, and
it's rough.
That part's rough.
For me, it was Deep Space Nine's version of the row your boat scene.
Well, at least row your boat, they're singing it together. They're layering their singing voices on the Alan Moraine thing, and it's very like, whoa, cringy.
I just didn't understand, Like, it was just like they got off so like because like Sisko's about to yell at Alan Moraine guy, right? And then Odo interrupts him, and so he goes, "Yeah." He goes, "Well, it was kind of Quark's fault. Quark was cheating, but like, that doesn't kind of this does not correlate. This does not justify what happened."
Afterwards, let me mess this man up.
Why didn't you throw Quark into the maze thing? Why did what?
Quark was cheating, so he just took a whole bunch of other people, innocent people, off the space station.
Because these were the people that said hello when they got on board.
People that were most likely not to be missed.
Primmins is like, I got this under control. We don't even need these four.
Like these guys, and the security guy will just think they're drunk. It's fine.
I just love when they finally do come back from Alan Moraineville, how pissed off Sisko is. He's like, we take full first contact very seriously.
Very seriously.
How adamant he is and how pissed off he is. And the guy's like, oh, it was only a game. Like,
community.
He's so nonchalant. He's not even intimidated by Sisko whatsoever. Like he's
used to people's reaction after the game. It was just a game.
Silly Alpha Quadrant people.
The founders. It's just a game.
Yeah.
All right. Well, here, looking ahead here on Live Long and Podcast this week, it is an exciting week. Well, hey, let's not bury the lead. We have a new program coming out, Star Trek Radio Theater, starting this Friday with our first performance, our first official on-air performance, really coming here on Live Long on Podcast. You're going to see us recreate an episode of, many episodes of Star Trek, we're imagining, but we're starting with the Next Generation episode, Yesterday's Enterprise. Jaemeel, I think you have seen the promotional art for this that we put out.
I'm excited for
Have you
this.
seen it?
No.
Oh, it's so good.
You haven't seen it, Kevin? Oh, well, here, it's here. Just talk amongst yourself for 10 seconds there while I bring this up because
I can't wait. This is going to be glorious.
There, I got it here. Media.
I think your 10 seconds is up, Dave.
It's not up. It's not up. It's not up.
Alan Moraine,
Is that not working? No.
Don't give him anxiety. It might take him longer to get it up.
He's very uncomfortable.
Now I'm uncomfortable. You did, Kevin. Here, I can do this.
Now we're in Jeff's least favorite view.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're in Threeville, and Threeville's no good.
Threeville's no good? Share screen. Here we go.
I could probably do
there we go. It takes forever sometimes, especially if I feel pressured. Okay, here we go. And if I just go there and take that off. You guys see that?
Yeah. Long Live and Podcast presents.
You're on the fucking merry-go-round.
Yeah.
We got Star Trek Radio Theater coming to you here Friday, June 19th, 9:00 p.m. here on Live Long and Podcast. I will be playing the role of Jean-Luc Picard and Wesley Crusher. Also, I'll be doing the Klingon commander.
Everybody's picture looks super serious except Ashley's on a fucking merry-go-round.
Well, I asked her to send me a photo that she liked. The other photo you sent to me, I was going to use the other photo you sent to me, Ashley, but then I was like, this photo is not working, so I had to.
No, it's perfect.
There's
It's perfect the
there's
way it is.
very few pictures of only me.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
A lot of pictures of myself. I don't. Like that picture is from when we went to Disney.
Well,
like
I could have cropped you out of another photo or something like that, but I was just
perfect.
I find people like to pick their own photos, so I said just send me the one you like.
That picture sums me up in a nutshell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You will be playing Tasha Yar.
Yes.
The mother of Sela, that Tasha Yar. You'll be Beverly Crusher, Lieutenant Worf, and some of the female Starfleet roles. I
love the picture of Worf that you picked. It's perfect.
You like that picture of Worf?
Yeah, it's perfect.
We got Jeff here playing Lieutenant Richard Junior Grade Castillo.
You eat shit for breakfast?
William Riker, this version. So yeah, these are all like the same people, all the same characters, but they're this yesterday's Enterprise version of these characters mostly, where like Riker and Picard hate each other, and like there's just a whole bunch of different dynamics going on here, which is really interesting. Jeff's also doing Geordi LaForge, which I'm excited for.
You got a coolant leak down on deck 13.
And Jane's going to be playing Guinan, is portrayed by Whoopi Goldberg, of course. And then we got Captain Rachel Garrett of the Enterprise C, and she'll be doing the Data role. And I imagine I'll be doing quite a bit of other like narration role as well. So I'm kind of doing all those. Any questions?
No.
Jaemeel, do you have any questions?
I'm eagerly awaiting this. You don't know how much I saw it and I squeed. I squeed in delight.
We did a dry run on Saturday night with another episode, but half of another episode, and I have never seen Kevin laugh so much in his entire life.
Yeah, we did Conundrum.
Yeah.
And so Ashley was playing Riker, and Dave was doing Lieutenant Rowe, and I was doing Deanna Troi. So there was a love triangle between Riker, Troy, and Rowe.
Exactly like Ringo Starr.
Yeah.
My Deanna Troi. Yeah, you cracked me off when you said that. Like, because I was like, and then I got self-conscious. I'm like, am I doing a Liverpool accent? Because I was doing Deanna Troi like very slowly because she goes Data, and he goes, "This is Ringo."
Dave's bro Laren was atrocious. It was awesome.
Yeah. Okay, we got. So sometimes on these radio theater broadcasts, we will be doing like kind of more authentic versions of these original performances, but sometimes we're gonna have some fun with it, and we might do some fun things.
Whatever impression you can do. You know.
Yeah, so we might say like, well, what happened if like Macho Man Randy Savage was Wesley Crusher, and see how that goes. Something like that. I'm not saying we're going to do that this week. I think for this week,
Robin's rules.
Yeah, that's where we will go in the future. I think for this first week, we're probably. I've been thinking about it. I think I'm going to have to stay.
It's a fantastic idea. Have one character that is like a different voice, like a
different voice. But the rest, they're just in this show now, and everybody else accepts them as that is what it is.
What time we got to do like Worf is like the ultimate warrior or something like that.
Yeah, it kind of almost is. So it wouldn't be that
far. Will anybody notice?
He'll come down and shake the ropes.
Yeah. Well, I guess if Michael Dorn did a whole bunch of steroids and cocaine, he would have been on his way to be an ultimate warrior.
Michael Dorn was born a woman, so.
What?
My Worf.
Oh, your Worf. Yes.
Woman playing Worf.
Yeah, and so I don't have to play any female characters this time, but it's when you play another
Worf is just as bad as Dave.
Well, it's nice. It's nice this time. I at least get 2 female characters because last week I was just men.
Yeah, right. No, all the female characters are played by the women this week, so this is a little easier. And I'm excited. This is going to be a lot of fun. So we're coming out Friday night. Get ready. performance. If you know, we're going to bring some of our other Live Long and podcasters in for the different performances. We don't even know what we're doing after this one, but we're excited. So tune in for that. We're really looking forward to that. And also here on Live Long and Podcast, we'll be back. What's our next one? Thursday night. We're here to talk about the original series. I can't remember which episode we're doing right now.
You guys are saying Space Hippies. I don't remember.
Oh, Space Hippies. We're doing Space Hippies. Wade Eden. We're doing that one, which I think is going to be really great. You know, with the song and everything like that. I think there's going to be some great soundboard additions coming out of Thursday. Right. And yeah, Friday night we're doing the theater, and then on Saturday we'll be here for we're almost near the end of our Star Trek movie rewatch series, where we're going to be doing Star Trek Into Darkness on Saturday. Yikes. Okay, well, I'm not going to talk about that right now. So
it's bad, but not in a good way, like Move Along Home was.
Yeah. Make sure to check out our work on our other channels, Super Mater Brothers Podcasting and Trivial Debates. Both got some great content over there. Make sure to check that out there when you can. And yeah, and we'll be back next week to start the Nagus here on Star Trek DS9. Live Long and Podcast. Final thoughts?
No, I think we're good. I think that's it. And everyone said their piece of Alamarine.
Alamarine.